Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in. We are closing in on 300 subscribers. As I stated in my previous video before, once we reach 500 subscribers, I will be doing a giveaway. Hello everyone, this is Straight to the Point Tech. I'm back again with another video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus and why I think it is the best handheld device out right now. All right, so we are on MSI's website, and here we have the AMD variant here. So this looks like a cool color right here. So I guess this is the neon green. Then they have a dual color variant, and then a polar tempest color right here, right? So I guess that kind of resembles the original ROG Ally, I guess. Yeah, so this is the AMD variant right here. This variant here basically has the Z2 Extreme. Same specifications, is just for the simple fact that the iGPU is different. So the Intel variant is the 258 volt Ultra 7, and this is the AMD Z2 Extreme variant right here. But overall, same specs, just a different iGPU. I mean, like I said, and it looks neat. However, though, I still recommend you go with the Intel variant, as it is much stronger. In fact, we are going to check out a website that I usually use that will, eventually reveal some of my information. Hopefully it's up to date. All right, so we are here on windowscentral.com. So I know there was a Chinese YouTuber that had got a hold of the AMD variant early, and he had done some benchmarks, and he did a comparison between the Intel variant and the AMD variant, and the AMD variant scored a couple of 100 points below versus the Intel variant, which was a couple of 100 points higher. That video has since been taken down, as well as the benchmarks. And in theory, that's not that bad, but it does make a difference. So what he was essentially saying was that the Intel variant was better in the frames per second department versus the AMD variant, which was lower in the frames per second department. Now, that may not seem like a lot to you all, but it makes a big difference. And here's the reason why, okay? So at 37 watts, what I can remember watching the video, he was playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and he was doing a comparison between the AMD variant and Intel variant. The Intel variant at 37 watts, which is max, was averaging about 61 to 62 frames per second, like with little dips here and there, nothing going below 58. While the AMD variant was averaging around 55 to 50 frames per second, going below, 50, around 48, 49 frames per second. Now, that's not that bad. That's still awesome, especially given that this is a handheld device. However, when it came to Cyberpunk 2077 versus the AMD variant, right? Basically, Cyberpunk was averaging about 55, 60 frames per second on the Intel variant, especially with frame generation, while the Intel variant, surprisingly, right, with XeSS as well, was averaging about 51 to 52 frames per second when he did the Cyberpunk 2077 test. So, that's just letting you know that there are some games, in my opinion, I believe, that are better optimized for the AMD variant, and there are some games that are better optimized for the Intel variant. Now, there's a reason why particularly I think that the Intel variant is much better. And again, around this time, Intel has something to prove with the 7-inch Claw variant failing and not doing very well. Perhaps it did get better later as far as performance goes. However, though, this is the absolute best handheld, in my opinion, right now. Right now, there is the 1X Fly F1 Pro, awesome device, OLED display, but pricing wise, it can run you about $1,400. And if I were you and you're willing to spend that much money, I don't know your circumstance, but I would be willing to spend that money on a quality gaming PC. That's just my opinion, but if you do want handheld, I definitely will go with the Intel variant, and that is the 285 volt model. And like I said, Intel has something to prove this time around. And definitely in the handheld department, they've struggled. They're struggling, in the GPU department, especially from a consumer perspective, even CPU. So it's like they have to get something right, and I feel like this is their most prized focus right now, especially when it comes to handhelds and just getting it, together. I mean, according to this article, someone, said that they were able to test it on Windows Central.com, and he was basically saying that VRAM wise, in the BIOS there's two modes that you can put the device in, which I've found out recently. So this device can go either in balance mode or performance mode. Now, performance mode, basically for the MSI Claw 8 AI, will allow it to get better frames per second. However, though, granted, if you do not calibrate your device correctly, it will drain the battery. And the Z2 Extreme is no slouch. AMD has just shown in the past with the ROG Ally X and the Lenovo Legion Go that they can be lackluster when it comes to support, right? Now, I don't know if that's a relationship issue between the manufacturer and AMD. I don't know. But there were times when I did have the Lenovo Legion Go, which I've since sold, and the and the ROG Ally X. And there were just, issues and glitches and problems with frame generation and AMD Adrenalin. I just got sick of it, and I'm like, dang, AMD, like, I guess y'all are so on top of things right now. You really don't care about, the performance or the longevity of the Lenovo Legion Go or the ROG Ally, or the Ally X rather. So, I essentially gave up, and, I said to myself, I'm going to stick with the MSI Claw 8, and I'll stick with the Steam Deck OLED, because I know one thing's for sure, two things for certain. This time around, Intel is on it. They want to make a great impression. And then I know for sure this time around, Steam has something to prove, because they want to continue involved as well. They want to continue to let everyone know they hold weight in the handheld department. So they continue to push out updates and make the Steam Deck OLED, that variant particularly, which I will push for if anybody's looking to get one, to continue to be, a competitor in the handheld world. And like I said, Intel has something to prove. I mean, like I said, so if I were you, I would definitely pick this device, especially, at MSRP price. It's $999.99 now. It's $1,000. It's really hard to get. I know Best Buy has been doing restocks, Amazon. I know Micro Center has had some in stock. I also know websites like Newegg have had some in stock as well. If you can get it and catch it while it's available, I definitely suggest you get this device. Skip out on the skip out on the ROG Ally X. Skip out on the Lenovo Legion Go. Skip out on the Legion Go S, both variants, and get this device right here. Again, I just feel like this is eventually going to be, number one, until let me just say this, right? This is the best handheld out right now. Until the Lenovo Legion Go 2 comes out, which I may or may not pick up. But here's the thing: the Z2 Extreme chip has been proven to not be able to compete with the 258 volt Intel Core Ultra 7 chip. So that's a kicker. So I feel like the only thing the Legion Go 2, which is the next up device, is going to have against the MSI Claw 8 is just the display. It's going to be an OLED display, but it's going to be 8.8 inch OLED display. Now, they're saying that the battery is going to be bigger and the battery is going to be better. I don't know how they're going to pull that off, especially it being an OLED display at 8.8 inches with 32 gigabytes of RAM, and it being, efficient in the battery department. I just don't know. But for real, I still feel like this is the best device you can get right now, like literally. But anyways, y'all, I appreciate y'all support. Thank you for tuning in. More videos to come. The next video will be what I think about this device versus the Steam Deck OLED. Definitely, Steam Deck OLED is like, how can I say it? The Steam Deck OLED is like one of those like underrated luchadorian wrestlers that everybody sleeps on, but they go out there and perform. Like the Steam Deck OLED is like Rey Mysterio, right? Versus like the Giant, right? In his prime. Like, you know, you're going to get a show from Rey Mysterio. You know, you're going to get a show from the Giant. Like, I don't know if that was the best analogy. You might be laughing. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? But I just feel like the Steam Deck OLED continues to compete, and Valve and Steam continue to work together and make it a viable device. So we'll be doing a comparison video with the Steam Deck OLED versus the MSI Claw 8. Again, thank you all for the support. Again, as I stated, once we get to some 500 subscribers, I will be doing a giveaway. This is Straight to the Point Tech. I am out. Have a great weekend. Peace.